Today, let's take a trip back in time and take a big look at the history of Japan. From the Yomon period to 2025, how has Japan's history progressed? We will introduce each period in an easy-to-understand manner, so please enjoy the journey to the end. Let's get started. Welcome to What the Japan. This channel introduces a variety of information on Japanese culture, history, tourism, etc. If you want to know more about Japan, please subscribe to our channel. The history of Japan begins about 13,000 years ago, during the Jomon period. During this period, agriculture had not yet begun, and people lived by hunting and gathering. People used Jomon earthenware to preserve and cook food. It is also believed that people during this period were closely connected to nature and worshipped gods. Clay figurines and ornaments have been excavated, evidence of a flourishing spiritual culture. The Yayoi period begins around 300 BC. During this period, rice cultivation was introduced from China, and agriculture began in Japan. Iron and bronze tools came into use, and weapons and farming implements evolved. The spread of agriculture led to the spread of a sedentary lifestyle, and settlements developed greatly. The structure of society also changed, and for the first time, social hierarchies were created and disparities were seen between settlements. These changes laid the foundation for Japanese culture. The Kofun period began around AD 300. During this period, large tumuli were built and strong leaders emerged. Kofun tumuli were built to bury great figures, and their size and shape symbolized the power of the time. Also during this period, Japan became a unified nation for the first time, with the Yamato Kingdom at its center. A centralized system was being established while competing with other regional kingdoms. The Asuka period began in the late 6th century. During this period, Buddhism was introduced from China and had a great impact on Japanese culture and society. By embracing Buddhism, religion and philosophy developed, and the foundation was laid for the creation of a strong nation. The culture of the Asuka period has deeply influenced Japanese culture today. During this period, the first era name Gen was also used, and the shape of Japan as a nation began to take shape. The Nara period lasted from 710 to 794. Japan's first large capital was built in Heijō-kyo, and the capital was being developed. Buddhism spread greatly during this period, and many temples and Buddhist statues were built. Culture also developed, and literature and history books were produced. Many famous Japanese works of literature such as Manyoshu and Nihon Shoki were created during this period. The Nara period was the golden age of Japan's ancient culture. The Heian period began in 794 when the capital was moved to Kyoto. During this period, the nobles ruled and culture flourished greatly. Literature and the arts in particular flourished, and the culture of the Heian period still strongly influences Japanese traditions today. World-famous literary works such as The Tale of Genji were produced. Buddhism also spread, and the social structure of the society was established. Characteristic of the culture of the Heian period include the glamorous life of the nobility, waka poetry, and the tea ceremony. Toward the end of this period, however, the power of the samurai grew stronger, and the samurai gradually became the center of politics. This led to an increase in rebellions by local powerful clans and warriors in the late Heian period, which eventually led to the Genpei Wars. The Kamakura period began in 1292 when Minamoto no Yoritomo established the shogunate in Kamakura. The shogunate was a political organization led by a shogun in Japan. Keep in mind that this shogunate will come up again later. This marked the beginning of the era of samurai rule. Minamoto no Yoritomo made many reforms to strengthen the power of the samurai. Also during this period, the idea of Bushido was born. Bushido summarized the ethics and values of the samurai and emphasized the spirit of loyalty, righteousness, and honor. Buddhism also spread during this period, especially Zen Buddhism. During the Kamakura period, there was a major event called Genko. This was a war in which a country called Gen, which came from what is now China and Mongolia, attempted to attack Japan. Gen's army was very powerful and attacked Japan many times, but Japanese warriors fought stubbornly and prevented the attack. The samurai then became powerful enough to rule Japan, and a samurai society or samurai government was established. The Nanboku-cho period lasted from 1336 to 1392. During this period, there was a major conflict over the Emperor of Japan. Simply put, it was a period when the successors to the emperor were divided into two factions, each claiming to be the rightful emperor. The two groups were the Southern Dynasty and the Northern Dynasty. The Southern Dynasty was supported by some members of the imperial family who thought they should succeed to the throne. The Northern Dynasty was led by another imperial family that strengthened its rule. Both sides continued to fight, believing that their emperor was right. Ultimately, this struggle came to an end with the advent of Ashikaga, Takoji, and the Ashikaga family eventually prevailed, beginning the Muromachi period. The period of the Northern and Southern dynasties was a very complicated period in Japanese history, and was a time of intertwined speculation among the various powers. The Muromachi period was a time when the Ashikaga shogunate ruled Japan. During this period, commerce developed and towns prospered. Culture also flourished, and traditional Japanese culture such as the tea ceremony and no drama was born. The Muromachi period was a period in which many warring feudal lords rose to power as a preparatory stage before entering the Warring States period. The warring feudal lords were powerful warriors who ruled over various territories, and would later fight throughout Japan in the Warring States period. Among them, the era of Ashikaga Yoshimitsu was very stable. Yoshimitsu was the third shogun of the Muromachi shogunate, and he successfully organized politics and stabilized society. During this period, culture and economy developed, for example, tea ceremony, and beautiful buildings such as the Kinkakuji Temple were created. Trade also flourished during this period. In particular, trade with foreign countries such as Portugal and Spain was conducted through the Namban trade. The trade brought new culture and technology to Japan, such as guns and Christianity. The Azuchi Momoyama period refers to the era of Nobunaga Oda and Hideyoshi Toyotomi. Also known as the Sengoku period, it was a time of many domestic battles. During this period, Japan gradually moved from the Warring States period toward unification. Nobunaga introduced modern military and tactical techniques and expanded his territory. Hideyoshi succeeded him and nearly unified Japan. During this period, large castles such as Azuchi Castle in Nagoya and Osaka Castle were built, and the political and economic center of Japan was developed. Culture also flourished, and the tea ceremony and performing arts flourished. In addition, exchange with foreign countries increased, and Christianity and Nanban culture began to influence Japan. The Edo period began in 1603 when Tokugawa Ieyasu established the shogunate. During this period, the Tokugawa shogunate ruled Japan with stable government for about 260 years. The Edo period was a time of peace and stability, and commerce and culture developed. In particular, Edo became the largest city in the world, and popular culture flourished. Although foreign exchange was limited due to the national seclusion policy, domestic culture developed on its own. Ukiyo-e, kabuki, haiku, and other forms of traditional Japanese culture that are still beloved today were born. In addition, many people gathered in the city of Edo during this period, and commerce and trade became active. The Meiji era began in 1868. Japan entered a new era with a major reform called the Meiji Restoration. The previous samurai era ended, and the government brought the country together. Japan learned from European technology and institutions and rushed to modernize. Factories and railroads were built, and industry grew significantly. During this period, Japan strived to become a strong and prosperous country. Japan also fought wars with foreign countries. Japan won the Nishin War against China and the Nichiro War against Russia. As a result, Japan came to be seen as one of the strongest countries in the world. The Taisho era was a short period from 1912 to 1926. During this period, the idea of democracy, Minshushugi, became popular in Japan. There was a strong movement to reflect the voice of the people in politics. Japan participated in World War I. After the war, Japan became economically strong. There was a period known as Taisho democracy. People's freedom and civil rights became important. Culture also changed dramatically. Modern culture influenced by the West became popular. Movies, music, fashion, and literature became popular. During the 1920s, the economy developed, but the Great Depression also caused difficulties in Japan. The Showa era began in 1926. During this period, Japan entered World War II, 1939 to 1945, and was greatly affected. After the war, Japan was occupied by the United States and worked on reconstruction. With support from the U.S., post-war Japan experienced rapid economic recovery and high economic growth. Industrialization progressed and domestic industry developed. On the cultural front, movies, music, and animation also gained international attention. As a result of the war, a peace constitution was enacted and Japan sought to create a peaceful nation. The latter half of the Showa era, economic growth continued and Japan became the second largest economy in the world. The Heisei era lasted from 1989 to 2019. During this period, Japan went through a period of economic difficulties. The bubble economy collapsed, and a prolonged period of economic stagnation followed. However, the IT industry developed and globalization progressed. Japan created new business models utilizing the internet and information technology. In addition, since the 1990s, anime, manga, and video games have become popular around the world, spreading Japanese culture throughout the world. On the political front, reforms were also promoted in response to the economic stagnation. The Reiwa era began in 2019. Today, Japan's technology and culture are evolving and influencing the world. In particular, advances are being made in robotics, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy. It is also facing challenges such as a declining birth rate, an aging population, and a shrinking population. Japan is attempting various reforms to address these issues. On the cultural front, Japan's soft power continues to expand, with animation, movies, and music still popular around the world. In addition, the Tokyo Olympics will be held in 2020, attracting attention from around the world. Even today, there are ongoing efforts to build new technologies and social systems for the future. How was it? This is the history of Japan that we Japanese have learned from textbooks and television. Looking back on the history of Japan, many events and people have appeared. It is clear that there are cultures and values that have transcended the ages and are still being passed down today. I hope we can build a new and better future, taking lessons from these histories. In this channel, we will introduce various information about Japanese culture, history, sightseeing, etc. If you want to know more about Japan, please subscribe to our channel. If there's anything you would like to know about Japan, please feel free to leave a comment. See you on the next What the Japan.